Hello everybody, welcome to Starladder Season 5. My name is Epi, I'm glad that you're here. No Tidehunter versus 3D Max, and in case you're wondering why I am so small inside this box, and it's because my camera sucks, and the overlay only has the ginormous size for Toby's awesome camera, so I will try to get that fixed. But until then, we will focus on this game. Again, no Tidehunter yesterday, doing very, very well over at the raid called EMS1. This time around, proving themselves inside Starladder Season 5 against 3D Max. They're playing with a stand-in, and it's a surprise stand-in. You guys have probably not seen him play in the competitive scene yet, but some of you probably know who he is. I was quite surprised to see him in the game, and let's open up the draft here quickly. It is stand-in Hjort, or Hjort, from joinDOTA, and I don't know why he is playing. Apparently he must be pretty skilled in order for him to be playing as a stand-in for 3D Max, so best of luck to you, my man. Looking forward to see how you will do. Of course, against no Tidehunter, who have recently, well, not so recently, probably about a month ago by now, separated from Eternal Envy. And now we have Egum enter God mode, standing in for no Tidehunter at this point. Sometimes he has the stand-in tag, sometimes he has a clan tag, but as far as I know, he is not yet an official member of the squad of no Tidehunter. as for AK, Loda, and Bulldog are the official members, and we will see whether or not Enter God mode will be added as a fifth and final addition to no Tidehunter. Now again, this is Starladder Season 5. We have the raid call EMS1 semis and grand finals coming up tonight. I think the first game is actually going parallel to this one, so Toby and Kawa are casting those. It's Cup number 4, so the last one before we move ourselves into the playoffs for that one. So time has passed quite quickly. It's same with Starladder Season 5. I haven't cast SL5 in a long time, but I am back now, at least for these two games, and whenever I find time in between events like the Big Point Battle or the ISO Cup or well, the raid call EMS1, I will try to come back to this event, but we have had some other English casters providing you some tremendous coverage of this nonetheless. So for everybody that's a big fan of Starladder, this is of course the 5th installment of this. You were not really missing any English coverage, so at least that's something. Now again, focusing on the draft, we have some catching up to do. The Wisp indicates that we are indeed in the West. No Tidehunter. They had the first pick. They first picked up the Magnus, and 3D Max responded by going for the Rubik and the Nakes. And no Tidehunter in turn secured themselves Lone Druid as well as Shadow Demon. So Lone Druid has been rising in popularity slowly but steadily, especially over the G League Grand Finals. IG showed what a powerful force a Lone Druid can become, especially in the hands of a skilled player such as Zoe or Jo. And excuse me. And of course the Shadow Demon, the Demonic Purge, is a pretty good tool against Lifestealer, and also for the eventual Phantom Lancer, he does pretty well against that. Last pick from 3D Max, the Darkseer, who has really dropped down in his popularity as of late. It really isn't that high tier 1 pick anymore. Oh, shout out to Chair Raider in the chat. He just let me know that Hjort, or Hjort, I don't know how people with an English accent or English-speaking people would pronounce his name. I should ask him. But he's letting us know that Hjort used to play competitive something like 5 years ago, so whoops. I guess he's more than capable of standing in. I think 3D Max, they wouldn't, let him stand in if he wasn't at least a very capable player. So again, welcome Hjort to the competitive scene here in your Starladder Season 5 debut. You are going against no Tidehunter, so that's going to be quite the big test for you. Second band phase, Bounty Hunter, taken up from no Tidehunter alongside Puck and Quap. 3D Max, they take out the hard carries that have been trending. Although Luna, she's kind of fallen out of the favor with the gods here. But still, the Gyrocopter has been very popular as of late. Got banned out a bunch. He isn't really that first pick material in a lot, for many people, but he can do fairly well against heroes such as the Phantom Lancer. Luna got taken out last by 3D Max, and then the Chen. So one thing that I'm looking forward to see is that Dragon Knight counter to Lifestealer. Now that I saw Chair Raider in the chat, I was reminded of his analysis that I read about Lifestealer and how to go up against him, because there was a discussion on the internet about Nakes being so powerful, and he is melee, so He is relatively easy to kite around, and heroes like Shadow Demon do a good job. But you know, he's also pretty mobile. If you have a lineup that works well with him, for example, Puck could work well with him. Darkseer works well with him because he has a surge, so he can get either surge with Lifestealer, or Lifestealer can infest the Darkseer, and then Darkseer can surge himself and get himself into a quick position. Initiators like a Storm Spirit or even a Bat Rider work well with him. So in the end, there is ways to really mitigate the weaknesses of the Nags and really, you know, cater to his strengths. And one of the counters Cheerator mentioned is, and it's not like a really secret counter, but it's one that seems to be overlooked as of late in the competitive scene, and I really don't know why. It's that Chaos Knight. He has a lot of armor, which means that the lifesteal from Nags doesn't do that well against him in the end. And he also has that single target reliable stun, which has a pretty long duration if you think about it. And if a Lifestealer isn't attacking and stealing back his HP, then he can actually be quite, you know, more squishy than you'd expect. So essentially, Dragon Knight does very well in just surviving that initial barrage of attacks from Lifestealer, because in the end the damage that comes through after being reduced by armor isn't a crap load, and you know it's the and once the only thing you got to do is survive through that initial rage phase. Once the magic immunity wears off, you can focus down Lifestealer pretty quickly. But we don't see the Dragon Knight very often in the competitive scene, and I really don't understand why. I personally am a big fan of the hero. I like him quite a bit because once he hits level 16, his ultimate is pretty much all you can ask for a hard carry ultimate. You got the range attack, the splash damage, you got free slow. It is incredible. He's just super tanky, so it's a great hero for pushing lineups and for going for manning up and fighting other carries, you know, toe to toe. But instead, no Tidehunter. They pick up Leshrac and Windrunner as their last two. That completes up their lineup. And 3D Max, they picked up Alina as their fourth, and now they have one more to go. So we'll probably see a tri-lane consisting of Rubik, Lifestealer, and Lina. Darkseer toward the long lane. And now they're looking toward a solo mid hero. But the Queen of Pain ban here, pretty intelligent, I think, from no Tidehunter. But of course, heroes like Storm Spirit work very well with the Lifestealer, and Na'Vi, they've been trying that a lot. And I think that was their go-to combination in their first few days together with their new lineup. They've been playing the Nags Storm Spirit a crap load. And I think that's always a nice fallback to have. If you already have a strategy that you're very comfortable with, especially when you're in a new squad and you still gotta get used to each other, then having those safe strats is pretty interesting. But then in the end, they do decide to go for Pugna. And I don't know if I agree with that a whole lot. I mean, Leshrac, of course, has issues with Pugna. The ward is, of course, annoying. But other than Leshrac, you know, Shadow Demon and Windrunner, of course, they have a lot of spells and they can use a lot of mana. But I wouldn't say that the Nether Ward is a, you know, a ginormous threat to them. Of course, it does damage them a good deal, but I'm not sure what exactly the Pugna is all about here in this regard. The Decrepify, it can amplify the nuke potential from Lina, so there's that. It can also prevent you from being attacked physically from the lone druid. So there's some gimmicks to it, but seeing that in relation to the frequency of Pugna being picked, I am not so sure. But hey, the D-Max might very well prove me wrong. Let's go over the lineups, will we? Or shall we? While we're waiting. Hayek, the badass Rubik. Then we got the stand-in, Hjort, playing the Lina. Sweet new icons here for her. Pugna will be played by Hestejo. Then we have Noya playing our Lifestealer. And toward the bottom lane, we got Hawaii playing the Darkseer. So a little bit interesting. I think putting Darkseer on the safe lane is a good choice, even though I wasn't really thinking about that at the time. They're putting their tri lane aggressively, and that will make it possible for Darkseer to get a little bit more farm on the safe lane, as opposed to him being always in a well, I guess it's a dangerous position if you're on the long lane. You know, always, you know, in this general direction here, you always got to watch out for the rotations and stuff. If you're on the safe lane around here, and it is of course a way more comfortable position to be in. Oh, did I say Chaos Knight? No, I meant Dragon Knight. Sorry, guys.
The battle begins.
Yeah, not Chaos Knight as a counter to Nags, but Dragon Knight, because Dragon Knight's high armor. You know, he has the passive that gives him the bonus armor and bonus HP regen, and then of course the long single target stun. And of course a nuke also. But there's many variations of how to skill him, but in the end the passive is always very important, especially if you go up against the Nakes. But yeah, if I said Chaos Knight, then no, I meant the Dragon Knight. Now, both teams going for aggressive trial lanes. We got no Tidehunter. I didn't go over their lineups yet. Agam playing Shadow Demon, Ake on his Leshrac. They will leave Loda on the Windrunner. So that's a interesting trial lane. Of course, it has a lot of damaging potential. Darkseer should be okay on the top lane in the meantime. There's that dive. Bulldog gets slowed down. And what a dive. Holy crap. Chain Stun goes down. 3D Max. A great dive. And to stand in, join Dota guy. Gets the first blood on Bulldog. Good play right there. And yep, no wards from no Tidehunter, so he was caught completely off guard here. Safe lane, lone druid. Middle lane, it will be S4 against Hestejo, and S4 has played such a tremendous game yesterday, or several games yesterday. In the meantime, Hawaii gets stunned. Oh, he gets power shot at the bursts here, quite a bit. But Hawaii gets away safely. That was really cool shift queuing by him right here. Shift, you know, eating this tree and immediately moving on. Good utilization of his fingers. Already an Orb of Venom picked up by Lifestealer. Really cool item on him. Really good item to have on him, actually. Hestejo 7 for 1 against S4, 7 for 2. Magnus already has the bottle up. We have a rotation from the two supports here. This here is a Radiant Ward though, so Pugna knows exactly what's up. He can actually choose to be a little bit more aggressive here now, I think. Also, this ward just out of range from that Sentry True Sight. And Illusion Rune spawns on bottom. So in the end, you know, the two supports from No Tidehunter are wasting a little bit of time here. I hope that Darkseer, when they had vision on the supports right here, that he went closer to the creep wave to get some more golden experience. And now 3D Max disrupting the pull here a little bit. Or maybe they even did that, I'm not sure. It wasn't really paying attention. S4 after bottling up that illusion, heading back towards the middle lane. That Pugna pick is going to be very crucial, I think. Once the mid game hits, we will. It will come down to how well 3DMX will be able to utilize the Pugna, because you can see that a Magnus, especially played by S4, has a whole lot more game impact in the mid game, at least on paper, than the Magnus. Middle lane initiation cancelled by Ake. We saw him turn around a little bit and thinking about initiating, but in the end, the positioning from Pugna just too safe underneath his own tier 1 tower there. Hawaii surges himself back out. Loda 16 for 9. No, he's just fine, you know, now standing one-on-one against the Darkseer. The supports might as well leave that solo experience to the Windrunner, because a Windrunner with levels is always very important. OS4! Oh man, skewers away Hestejo. The nuke is ready. He's gonna get the kill. Solo kill by S4, and man, this guy is just so impressive. Such high individual skill on this player. Yesterday in the raid called EMS1, he's been impressive in both games I cast from No Tidehunter. Amazing, amazing, amazing player. Now Ake as well as EGM both just on level 1. If we look at the squads from 3DMax, both of them are about to hit level 3 even. So let's have a check of the experience here. It's even in favor of No Tidehunter at this point, which is surprising to me at least. And now Rubik is rotating back towards the middle lane, but this is more because of the 4-minute rune that's about to spawn here on top. And it's a haste. S4 is rotating up right now. They have vision of this, and now we got Rubik screening himself that one. And S4, immediately he realizes the danger and switches up toward the top lane, changes his route. He was planning to go for the rune here. But a Rubik with the haste is dangerous if you're alone against him. EGM retreats back into safety as well. Let's have a look at the lasses from Bulldog right now. 8-1 with, of course, 1 death to his name because of that great dive from 3DMax right after the spawns. And Pugna mid lane now really needs to make sure he gets the most out of this free time spent in mid. S4 now rejoining the middle lane. And that's the thing too, what you saw S4 doing right there, he just shift queued his shockwave because the regen from the fountain is still, you know, on him when he comes in, so he essentially just threw out a free nuke. Noya, Belt of Strength, completed up. And Loda now has his Tranquil Boots completed. So that's always a great item to have against the Darkseer, especially, you know, you can go be pretty aggressive against him, and we can see Loda investing a lot of time and efforts into harassing away the Darkseer. In the meantime, middle lane, there's S4 under attack. Oh man, that was a really good pull up, and the stun still hit. And the animation from that ulti from Magnus didn't go all the way through. And I think that was due to this nether ward here that killed him before he was able to go through with this. So to be honest, that's the first thing that I noticed about this nether ward right now. As in case you remember, I was wondering about the Pugna pick, but there that nether ward really paid off because the damage of the nether ward is dealt before the spell is completed or the effect comes in from the spell. So that was really good. I mean, otherwise perhaps that ulti would have come through from our Magnus, and I think it was Lina that was still standing there, or Rubik, or Pugna. One of the three heroes was still in tower range here, so if he were under the effect of that stun from RP, a good 2 seconds, then he would have probably died with the auto attack. Now Hestejo, oh man, good dodge here. Lateral movement, this guy showing off, and all the supports from 3D Max. They're gonna find him, the true sight is here! The dust is exposed, and Pugna gets the last one on Shadow Demon, and Aki has to run away. Amazing, 3-1 by 3D Max. On the top lane in the meantime, the Panda's diving after Noya. That was actually really aggressive from Bola, considering the amount of HP that was still left on the Nyx. In the meantime, bottom lane, Hawaii forced back Loda winning this lane all by himself. The long lane is fine at this point. And in mid, Magnus uses ulti to get a kill on Pugna. So that's a second solo kill from S4 on the Pugna, making up for his death. And let me go for a quick drink, guys. I'm sorry. Ah, okay. Alright, Hawaii. Chicken flying out to him right now. What is it delivering? Soul Ring recipe, or a completed Soul Ring at least, so he will have mana to spam his Ion Shells, egg him. On bot, not spotted out, so Hawaii doesn't know he's there, but I think judging by the fact that he's completely out of mana, he will have one surge right now. And 400 HP, he will probably be quite defensive. Loda is on level 7, which means level 4 nuke, and he should just inherently be defensive, not only because there's heroes missing, but also because a Windrunner by herself is very powerful. Now Loda going very aggressive, and a surge away from Hawaii immediately. The Shackle probably not going to latch, yeah. He doesn't really give away a target here by, you know, running away in a straight line while Loda is chasing him in a straight line. There isn't, you know, unless you're incredibly lucky, you might have Shackled to this one here, but Loda doesn't go for it. So EGM in the meantime, he's just really wasting a lot of time. And I think they probably even saw the rotation because here's a ward from the Radiant side. But Hawaii, despite that fact, he's pretty aggressive. He's not going to run into EGM. And now Darkseer might be in trouble. EGM now coming in. Where's that disruption? He's going to go for it. There it goes. And that was after the surge has been used. So this is really good for them. Shackle. Oh, it doesn't latch. Oh, the angle was just wrong. But the body block from EGM doing a lot of damage. But in the end, I don't know if that will be enough. Surge away. Power shot from Loda. Not there. 2 more mana. Is he going to go for it? He's going to hit. Oh, misses. Hawaii gets out safely. The angle on the Shackle. Most unfortunate for Loda there. Try to win run into play. Slow down onto Arrow Bulldog via that decrep. But the nuke misses. And now you should be careful. Loda pauses the game. Pings are going out. Look at the minimap, guys. Here we have Fjord up against a level 8 Magnus. And he's on level 5. Then here we have 2 or 3 D-Max heroes. They are forced to decide, continue going after Bulldog, or do we turn around and help our buddy? But Magnus, skewer up, and his ulti, and full mana. So if I were S4, oh actually no, I'm not going to tell S4 what to do here. He is perfectly capable of deciding here. But you can essentially assume that whatever each of these people here would have done before the pause came out, they might not do now, simply because they now have more time to think about, you know, look at the scenario calmly and think about what the best way to do, what the best thing to do is. Now let's see what they're going to do here. They decide to go after Bulldog. They don't care. Lina keeps on running away, but S4 now helping on his buddy. He switches into true form. There will be a lot of damage. He skewers away Hayek and gets the kill on him, but in the meantime, Druid also dropped. He actually died first, so Rubik got that experience, and Noya also joined the teamfight. So in the end, not a lot that S4 can do about this, and I think that was a perfectly correct decision. Hjord, he just kept on running up here, I think, if I saw that correctly, and just stayed out of harm's way because S4 was forced to move further up this way to help out his buddy. Again, 3D Max looking pretty good, but overall the experience still in favor of no Tidehunter. So the gold is slightly in favor of 3D Max, but experience in favor of no Tidehunter. Loda farming away quite amazingly. One Oblivion Staff is up already. Look at the warding too. The Dire really want to make sure that there's no one really watching them here. Admiral Bulldog has been having a very rough game. Ake now rotating toward the top to make sure that he'll be fine. But he's sitting at level 6 and his gold per minute is only the 5th on rank number 5 on this list. And overall the gold spread I think is favoring 3D Max, you know, although the most farmed hero is Magnus. And S4 has shown yesterday how efficient he can be on this hero. Their supports are more farmed than no Tidehunter supports. And I think at this stage of the game, when it comes to all these rotations and those team fights, every single level on supports counts even more. And now Agam in big trouble. Down he goes, and even Lina was here to help out. Load on bottom lane, we might see a rotation here. DD room bottled up by Pugna. And I would like to see them utilizing the push potential that could come out of a Pugna right now. Just that Nether Blast. Utilize that. Put some pressure on these lanes. Not a single tower has dropped this game yet. And to be honest with the Pugna, I think it's a shame. I think you can put a lot more pressure on the enemy team. Or gank that Windrunner. That could also be always a good choice. Middle lane now. Again that ultimate used just for Pugna, and he goes down another time. I think that's his 3rd death this game. Yes, 3-3-1 on Hestejo. On top in the meantime, Noya whacking away on that bear. Poor Panda. Gets beaten up too much. Bottom lane, Hawaii in trouble. Going after Loda, gets disrupted. Eggum. Oh my goodness, look at that damage. Just from that Ion Shell. Shackle latches onto Hawaii, power shot flies through, and he's going to go down. Good nuke by Magnus. Dominating Spear on S4. That range is not to be underestimated. It's a really, really long range. Look at that. And EGM almost died there, but speaking of death, Lone Druid died on top. The rotation from the supports, very, very good and able to kill on the Lone Druid. But Pugna in mid only has power treads, 54 last hits. If you look at S4, 60 and only 1 death, 5-1, and that's why his gold per minute is so damn high, 400 gold per minute already. And now Hestejo in trouble. S4 trying to look for the right angle for that skewer, and instead he just skewers away right now because the support TP is coming in Hawaii. Going to search himself, and not Hestejo. They're trying to go after Ake. S4 tries to scare them away a little bit. Nuke only hits on Hawaii. In comes Eggum. Disruption onto the Shadow Demon. Nuke flies, hits on Hestejo, and surge back. Top lane, tier 1 dropped to Nakes. And Bullock now rotated toward the bottom lane. After that, what is it? Yeah, it's also his 3rd death. 0-3-1, so he really isn't having a great game whatsoever. 81 gold per minute on the Shadow Demon. So EGM also very poor. Only 3 last hits, 2 deaths. And so far so good for 3D Max. Considering the caliber of team that they're going up against in no Tidehunter, they're doing a very good job, but I would still give them the late game advantage. Well, their late game advantage just died a 4th time, so it will be a very long time until Bullock becomes strong. And Lifestealer, on the other hand, is 2-0 and 280 last hits on him. So in terms of hard carries, 3D Max have a relatively long time window of effectiveness for the Nakes. Now Lina level 6, very important. Mech up on S4, also very important. And now middle lane, what's the rotation from Lina? She can just take out Ake very, very quickly. 350 HP left from the guy, and there's the ulti. Oh man! A little bit too late from Hestejo. Good defensive disruption from Eggum. Is there going to be any follow-up? No, Ake survives. Shackle onto Hjort. He's going to go down, I think. There's just too much. The Nether Ward, is it there? Yes, it is. Deals a crap load of damage, actually. Now Hjort goes down. Eggum and Load on low HP. But they pick him off. Look at those 3 heroes from no Tidehunter all getting out alive. Leshrac, Shadow Demon, and Loda. Loda will stick around. Has got the Tranquil Boots. S4. RP is up. And so is the mech. He's just staying around really, really calmly. Now he's heading back. Ping goes out. Nakes on bot. Quarterstaff bot up. top lane again, Bulldog. Time to find something. Just Tranquil Boots on him, Boots and a Stout Shield on his bear, and Hayek looking for the initiation of the loader, but his positioning or reaction rather a little bit too quick. And now S4 on bottom, going one-on-one against Noya. I think this should be Q for 3D Max to apply a lot of pressure in mid. Hester Joe though, low in HP, low mana rather, and there comes that regen. A very, very handy regeneration rune here. Bottom lane S4. Here he goes. Yeah, and even a farm Magnus really needs to be careful against the Nakes with his armlet that quickly. Rotation now down from Ake, level 6 on him also. Hjord level 7. Rubik only level 5. He's probably gonna go down. There's that stun. Alright, I don't know if that ulti was really necessary, but hey, they do get the kill. And now Pagna, oh, sorry guys. Almost getting a kill off the low ground against our Shadow Demon. And he should back out. He's very low on HP. This T1 tower might go down. Loda coming in. He's got the power shot to slow things down a bit here. And his Orchid is also done. So that's a great tool for him. Now we have the rotation in from S4. He's TPing into the mid. There's a disruption onto Hester Joe. Nuke flies out. Look at that burst damage now from no Tidehunter. Windrunner gets the last hit there. Mech gets popped by S4. And they do stop the push in mid. Tower survives, still standing, 180 HP. And Lifesteer on bot now does have his first Oblivion Staff up, farms away, and he can now split push a little bit. Might try to go for a trade, but then again, no Tidehunter will be able to push a lot faster than Nakes will be able to push on bot. But this tower already down to 600 HP, so it should be okay. They do need a reaction, and speaking of that reaction, Loda's now rotating back down. Pings are going out. Top tier 1. Oh man, look at that damage from the demolish on the bear. True form now used. Lone Drew gets the last hit. S4 is invis. They're gonna go into Noya. That will be a very important kill. There's that ulti use. Stun from Hjord. He also got stunned up. Bulldog in the meantime got stunned up by the Lina. Turns on to fight this. Ulti gets thrown up, but the mech there mitigates a lot of that. And the ulti now used by Nakes in that range creep. Now the important question is whether or not that creep will go get into deny range. Nakes makes it out alive, but Lina drops. And no Titan they just back out. Bottom tier 1, Hawaii. Now again guys, this is Starladder Season 5, no Tidehunter, of course, against 3D Max. Oh man, a really good skewer up onto the high ground from S4. Hester Joke getting caught out of position, tries to... Oh, it's an entangler, is it going to be there? He sucks life out of S4, but it's not enough, not fast enough, not strong enough. S4 too tanky and he lives. Hayek stole the shockwave, tried to help out. Wasn't able to. Nine for 1 last hits on Rubik. Finally he is on level 6. Very important, especially against Magnus. So as a Rubik, it's very important to watch your positioning when you are up against a Magnus, because of course you do want to make sure that you are able to get those clutch teamfight ultimates out. One player that is very capable of Rubik in that special situation is Kuroki. Kuro just overall a very skilled Rubik player, and you know, it's once you hit a certain level of skill in Dota 2, it's all about your capability of not losing the big picture, especially in teamfight scenarios. Not losing the big picture. I mean, so many players, myself of course included, they just kind of at some point we go into tunnel vision, you know, and to prevent yourself from going into that tunnel vision is a very important Dota 2 skill. Now, a really good decision here by 3D Max to not push this tier 1 tower into deny range. S4 was waiting in the wings and the 2 supports were rotating back down. That's a very good decision by 3D Max. Then we have Nakes and Pugna also rotating toward the bottom lane. A very nice ward by Ake here though. And they might actually find him. There's that ward. They should see that debuff on them. There goes the open wounds now. Onto Ake and Nikes. He gets the first kill. Onto the last rack. S4 is forced to secure himself away. And they just give that 1 kill away. But now the surge onto Noya after S4. He is forced to use the mech. He still has the ulti up his sleeve. Is there any support TP? Double support TP coming in. Noya got to turn around. And S4 now looking for the fight, but no Blink Dagger, and the Skewer was already used. Now the initiation onto Loda. Maybe that was a little bit over-aggressive from me. He's looking for the Shackle, but the Rage on Nags doesn't give him a good target. S4 not in position for the RP to cancel it off. And it's a second kill going the way of 3D Max without any retaliation from no Tidehunter. Admiral Bullock, he rotated in toward the middle lane. And S4 just wasn't there. When the initiation came, I think he was still on the movement, on the way moving back. Instead of perhaps going back in to get the RP off before the focus fire took Loda's life. And maybe, I guess it was a combination, either that or Loda shouldn't have gone in that aggressively. But in the end, just really strong play by 3D Max, and the pings go out, they saw that. Courtesy of this ward, props to whoever placed that. The smoke is spotted out, and now we see 3D Max retreating, especially now the Darkseer. Slowpoke 090, welcome. Letting us know that Pugna as a hero just dies too easily. Yeah, he's really, really squishy. I agree with that. So far, you know, he did die 5 times, but you know, it's not a total disaster, I must say. I'm still waiting for the clutch usage of that Nether Ward though, because that's essentially why you pick the Pugna. You know, his other skills, all well and good. His AoE nuke, amazing for farming, great for pushing towers, but in the end, the Nether Ward really is the most important thing. Egum might get caught out. Hayek look for the telekinesis. He's running into the side shop. S4 blinks away and skewers back into the tower. And leaves Hayek here all by... Oh my goodness. Really, really, really good TP by Egum. They weren't able to spot him out in time. Now what I would have liked even more if he had TP'd to this tower here. Maybe he just double clicked it, because that way he would have you know, saved himself a few milliseconds, which were very important in that certain scenario. But had he TP'd here, then he would have but of course, I guess it doesn't really matter. Alright, now the open wounds goes out onto S4. The ulti is there. He gets chain stunned though and bursted down, but a better disruption by EGM keeps him alive for now. He dodges the damage completely from the Lina ultimate. Now Noya running back out, gets purged though, and now no Tidehunter finally going to go ahead and turn it around. First one to go down, the one and only Lifestealer. And no Tidehunter don't lose a single hero courtesy of that amazing disruption. Blink in, ulti by S4 only 2 years, but Loda already dead, a little bit too late. And now S4 gets his life sucked out of him. Gotta toss him back closer, but the stun from Leshrac stops the channeling from Hestejo. He stands his ground though, mans up and fights. Down goes Shadow Demon. The nuke from S4 gets the kill on Pugna. In the meantime, Lone Druid kills Lina, and now Ake getting chased away, but Hayek now outnumbered a bit. Skewer back out onto Hawaii. This is a really cluster FE team fight. Hawaii waiting for the surge. The mech, he has a mech. Why is he not using it? There he goes, and I think he should be safe now. No mana left on S4. Nope, he did have mana for a blink, but in the end, he won't be able to do anything else. But he did lose all of his other 4 teammates. I think the last one to die was the Rubik. Yeah, Rubik dropped to Admiral Bulldog, who has finally gotten himself back to the game, and he chose an armlet on the Spirit Bear. Now, I read about this a lot. You know, as you can see, the armlet, the activated armlet doesn't drain his HP. But he also, of course, doesn't get the bonus strength from the armlet, and thus no bonus HP, no bonus damage. You know, strength-based damage. So he only gets that 9 damage, 15 attack speed, 5 armor, and 8 HP regeneration. So, yeah. Interesting choice from Spirit Bear, to say the least. If any of you guys in the chat have an opinion about this, anything you want to say in regards to this armlet, let me know. Middle tier 1 tower is going to get denied. The bear whacks away, and no deny here. I think they could have denied the tier 1 tower while they had the what's it called again? The Decrepify on the bear. The entirety of no Tidehunter hiding away here a little bit inside these little bushes. Alright, there's the telekinesis onto the bear. They're sending it in, Loda looking for the shackle. The ulti from Magnus is back up again. And that blink there also. Now Noya going in. Rage is used. Focusing on the Bullock. Great ulti by Hawaii off the low ground. Pulls it back in, but the only one to get pulled into the wall itself is Magnus. And where's Nakes at? Inside a creep. And that's the end of that team fight. The Magnus illusion just gets microed a bit. So yeah, no Tidehunter. They see the wall. They just back out, and that's a good decision by them. Darkseer, no wall on him, and as soon as it wears out, no Tidehunter can initiate this team fight. rotation this time around from no Tidehunter. The warding from 3D Max doesn't give them that good of a vision when it comes to this, what no Tidehunter are doing right now. But I guess common sense and experience should just inform them of what's going on at this point. Yeah, and here we go, the rotation's coming in, but then again, they don't have the Darkseer walls. That's a very smart decision by no Tidehunter, but instead, they back out again when they see 3D Max coming in to challenge. 12 to 13, 24 minutes into the game, guys. And we have the standoff here again. Noya going into the pit. Gotta be careful, man. Not to get entangled by the bear. That would be a just big invitation for anti-age to initiate. And the Magnus ultimate is worth so much in these close quarter engagements in the Roshan pit. So when it comes to these really close team fights, no Tidehunter definitely have the upper hand, especially when Darkseer does not have his ulti up. S4 still just farming away, 7-1-4. I'm just really impressed by the guy. Lastrak doing a good job and just stacking up the bracers. I mean, it's very inefficient when it comes to his item slots, but he's just tanking up cheaply, so I'm liking that. He's 0-2-4, and he just needs to survive in team fights and throw out all his nukes as often as possible. Nake's getting permabashed a bit here. Now things are heating up a bit around the Roshan pit. Now it's very important for both teams not to split up, and no Tidehunter, now they're going in. They sense their chance, and there's the ulti now used onto Noya. Will they be able to focus him down? Lina here, good shackle by load under 2 heroes. That will be the end of 3D Max. Nagus is the first one to go down. The ulti gets thrown up by Lina, but now she needs to retreat, and she's getting slowed down. The damage will be too much. The TP to no avail. 2 heroes down. 2 for 2 though. They were able to kill Bulldog and S4 as well. Buyback now used by Nagus. Agam also going to go down. Hawaii doing a really good job, and Pugna just deals so much damage to Nether Ward, doing a really good job here. And Ake gets slowed down. That's a crap load of damage. Vacuum back in. He's going to go down also. My goodness, what a great fight by 3D Max. I was sure when I saw Nagus dropping and a shackle on the 2 support heroes that this team fight was won by no Tidehunter, but they proved me wrong. And that was in large part brought to us by the Pugna. There was the Nether Ward and the low cooldown on his nuke.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Loda actually going for a BKB at this point. I hear an open wounds. Where's Nagus at? Inside the Roshan pit. Loda. There's that poison. Oh, again, shackle on 2 heroes. Beautiful. Beautiful. And now no Tidehunter. TP'd with the tier 2 on bottom lane. 3D Max are hurrying their asses off. This might be a wrong decision. Skewer back out from S4. Shadow Demon gets the kill onto Darkseer. And Roshan's still alive. They lose the Nagus and they lose the Roshan. Overextension by 3D Max in the Roshan pit. So, no Tidehunter really experimenting with well, not really experimenting, but they're doing some interesting stuff. You know, the carry windrunner, we don't see that a lot at all. So the Orchid into the BKB from Loda here. Really interesting. Windrunner used by Loda, looking for the initiation, blinking by S4. Good reaction by Hayek though, toss him back in, stun, great disruption by Agam. Keeps him again from that damage, but a great wall by Darkseer. Hawaii starts his team fight off right, and no Tidehunter forced to retreat out, but there's no follow-up unfortunately. Hawaii, you shouldn't overextend right now. There's that entangle, and there's that overextension I was speaking of. Fjord now going in. If he hadn't gotten entangled, then he was also dead. Only now Nagus is here. That oh man, S4 again, a really good ultimate there. Catches 2 heroes with a shockwave. That looked odd. I don't know if that was supposed to be hitting, but it did damage to the shockwave with his back to the enemy. Great skewer onto the high ground. Oh my goodness. Team wipe against 3D Max. An amazing fight by no Tidehunter here, put up inside, in between the tier 2 and tier 3 of the enemy.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
That was a really well done fight by no Tidehunter. And I think it all got started when Darkseer put down the wall and chased a little bit too far. I think this distance here between the wall and where he continued to chase, I think that was too big. Of course the entangle kind of worked against him here, but he just shouldn't have chased that far. They were able to, you know, that's the thing. They were able to repel the push, but overextended, and thus now they lost the racks in mid. Ulti by Lina. Good chunk of damage onto Loda. He might actually go down. The right click isn't there. He still has the Aegis.
Radiant's middle
Fjord looking for the right click. Nuke flies out, gets the kill on max range. That was absolute max range right here. We're gonna get back into the game. Missed time a little bit. BKB used. Looking for the kills. Looking for the damage. Silences off the Nakes. Shackle. Does hit. Chain stun from AK. He's not able to get his rage out in time. Oh! Oh! That was cool. That was good.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Oh man. Hawaii gets purged by EGM. This guy's been playing a really good game on his charity right now. Fjord gets his TP cancelled, and that is a GG, I think. No way for 3DMX to come back from this. Just domination from no Tidehunter. And all looked so good for them just a few minutes prior to this. Now, speaking about that 40 plus damage. Okay,
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen. Radiant's
understood.
top tower has fallen.
Understood. Shackle,
Radiant's top barracks has
but that's just flashy at this point. I mean, the odds of 3DMX coming back from this are slim to none.
fallen.
Two sides down, no Tidehunter. Happy about this fight. Very, very good fight. And EGM, man, your disruptions are key. Very, very key. You've been keeping Magnus alive now for a second time. Second time that I noticed, at least. There's an Invis rune here. Now we'll have a sip of tea to that. So, for all you guys that have just arrived back from the office, or from work, or from school, or from university, then I hope you guys are enjoying your evening. I certainly am. I just came back from the office, and you know, would you believe it? I spent the weekend with my girlfriend in Berlin. On Saturday for the G League Grand Final, I was in where? Where was I? I was in the studio in Berlin with Toby, and for the panel thing. And then on Sunday, we were supposed to be back in Düsseldorf at 7 or 8, but we were here at, I think, 11 at night because we had 4 hours of a delay. That was really, really, really shitty. My girlfriend actually started reading a book when we left, and she was done with the book when we arrived. It was, I think, the first installment of the Hunger Games that she read, and yeah, it was pretty bad. And then we were so tired we had to sleep immediately. Then yesterday, of course, office day, so I went to work, came back at 6 at night, 6 CET, or I left the office at 6, arrived home at 20 past 6, and then at 7 the cast started for the raid call EMS1. I was done at like 11 yesterday, super tired,
Radiant's bottom
and wasn't
tower
able to play.
has
What I'm trying to get at, the morale of the story is I didn't get to play Dota ever since Berlin. Oh man, Hawaii going in, he's got a Nax inside of him, and now he pops out the wall. Really, it doesn't do that much. Where's the vacuum? It's not there, no mana, and he's silenced on top of that, and he gets right click down, so in the end it's really not that effective. S4, good blink in into an RP for 2 people, 3 heroes down over 3DMX. Lina also drops. She was able to throw out her ultimate and take out S4, but in the end it's full on team wipe against them. And the GG well played get called out, and 3DMax disconnects out. Again, an amazing performance by 3DMax, but getting outclassed by a no Tidehunter here. And good performance by Fjord, I must say. Good job, man.
bottom tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack.
I'll return the favor.
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen. Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen. The
Now,
now have Radiant.
this was a good game. Good start into our Starladder Season 5 tonight, and we will continue in a few moments' time
Radiant's middle
with Mouse Sports versus 4 Friends and Krilly. So, the team that Kuroki built and left behind, they are now all big and grown up, and they are, of course, trying to stay inside the competitive scene. So if you're interested to see how they are doing, then stick around, because we have Mouse Sports against 4 Friends and Krilly coming up in just a few moments' time. But until then, or before we go there, I just want to again congratulate No Tidehunter on their tremendous performance here against 3DMax. They also played a strong game with an interesting draft that's always very respectable when they draft something relatively unusual like that Pugna. We don't see Pugna very often at all. So that was a pretty good performance by 3DMax, but in the end they just weren't able to stand up against 3DMax in their very powerful team fight. Again, S4, great performance on Magnus, 11-3-13 with 447 gold per minute. Good play, good game for Starladder Season 5. Game number 2, Mouse Sports versus 4FC, coming up in just a few moments. I do want to thank you guys for tuning in, and anything else? No. We'll see you guys in a few. Bye-bye.